It's my privilege to present our nation's highest civilian honor to some just incredible people.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President.
And standing here with my president, who I supported.
We were invited to Washington, D.C. to attend the Presidential Medal of Freedom ceremony honoring Annika Sorenstam, Gary Player, and Babe Zaharias. It just so happened to be around January 6th.
Based on news reports, it was clear that something was going to take place the day prior in D.C., and I thought, how interesting would it be to have the opportunity to be at the White House the day after?
Even before we got to the Capitol, we knew that we wildly underestimated what to expect.
It seems like, going down. So naturally, we decided to go there because that'll be interesting. And we get there. Guess what? It's interesting.
You could hear the explosions, the flashbangs going off. You could see the tear gas. We walked past a group of officers and heard on their radios the moment the Capitol was breached.
I for sure didn't understand the gravity of the situation of what took place at the Capitol building until we got to the hotel that night, and I'm watching the news and my parents are calling me.
We didn't know if the ceremony was going to be canceled or not after the riots.
There was no way, with people dying at the Capitol and all the chaos that took place, that the next day they would have an event honoring some golfers. And I was wrong.
I thought TSA was bad. Security at the White House the day after the riots, forget it. We travel with a ton of gear, like 13 cases, thousands of pounds of gear.
We're then told to lay all of it out before we even get onto the White House property for drug dogs and bomb dogs, and then actual people coming through and undoing everything that's packed, making sure it's all safe.
And by the time I was at the White House the next day, everything was cleaned up. There were police and barricades everywhere, and you wouldn't have known anything bad happened. It just looked like the city was kind of locked down.
You could feel this eerie pall over D.C. the day after the riots had happened. But once we were inside the White House, it felt like business as usual.
Well, this was happening.
We end up being the only media allowed in this Presidential Medal of Freedom ceremony with Trump, Annika, Gary, the day after the Capitol breach. So we're reasonably excited for this exclusive.
And that's when we were told we had to get out. We were rushed from the ceremony room back to the press area. We had no idea what was going on. After what we witnessed the day before, all I could think is, are we in danger?
Turns out last minute they decided, even though we were the only media allowed in, that even we weren't allowed in to cover the ceremony, which was the whole reason we went to D.C.
And at the last minute, I managed to convince somebody to at least let me sit in for the ceremony, since I'm going to be interviewing the recipients immediately after and need to know what went on.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to say thank you for all you have done in the service to our country.
Mr. President, I stand in this room with you, sir, and all these wonderful guests in this wonderful White House, which has helped change the world for the better.
Gary earned the title Mr. Fitness. He just told me, he said, "Sir, lose a couple of pounds." I said, "Okay, Gary." I said, "You said it in front of Annika. That was very rude. Don't you? How rude can you be?"
I struggled a lot with the interviews with Annika and Gary on that day because on one hand, they're being honored for their lifetime of work, and it's something they should be able to rightly enjoy. On the other hand, they're being understandably criticized for accepting the award from this president on this day.
Nobody wants to see violence. Nobody wants to see, just chaos.
We flew to Florida to interview Annika at her home a month after the riots.
What do you say to people who think you guys should have postponed it or
declined it altogether?
You know, I don't look back. I look at this award and I'm part of a group that made the world a better place.
We were gonna set up on this dock, but it ended up being foggy, which is a good thing because it turns out they got an alligator problem in Florida.
We swim in the middle. You know, I don't necessarily go in here because I always feel like they like that area.
Annika showed us around her property, gave Graham a golf lesson.
All right, somebody who's like hit a golf ball a couple times in his life.
Yeah.
How about a pointer or two?
Well, you aim with the club face. Okay, that's number one. And then just kind of have your arms a little relaxed and take the club back, which using your body and not just your arms. But I think I'm safe. I think I'm safe.
I don't think so.
Her son's really good. Annika, also really good. Graham, you guessed it, sucks at golf.
Look at that. You're laughing. I
What do
don't
you
know.
think,
I
Will?
thought that was pretty good. What do you think?
Good for a beginner.
And she let us get in on some pickleball action.
Graham, are you ready? You ready for this challenge?
You're not gonna believe it, guys. Graham's bad at pickleball.
Annika's son, who is super competitive and is doing really well at golf. I was on his team, and you could tell when he got stuck with me, he was less than happy. All right, Will, give me some pointers.
Okay, if you're ever gonna try to hit as hard as you can, aim it at the person, because if it hits them, then it counts as a point. It still counts as it's in.
Oh,
Good try.
good try. I gotta hit it harder. That was horrible. You're being nice.
Ow. No, that's out. Sorry.
Oh, sweetie.
Wait, what? Yeah,
That was match points.